All right, cool. All right, guys, welcome to the TRC Power Show Live. All right, we're here in Las Vegas. So we're live from Las Vegas. We're very excited to present to you a very valuable topic and what's happening here in the times. First, I want to introduce myself and my very special guest today, and then talk a little about where we are and why we're doing what we're doing today. I'm Stephen Lagomarsino. I'm the president here at TRC Electronics. I've been in this business for 25 years now. And today we're going to be talking about the state of U.S. manufacturing and the three problems that you need to solve to be successful in this industry right now. And we're going to give you a solution for each of those problems. I've been through three recessions in my career in the electronics industry. So we're looking at potentially one right now, and we're going to guide you through this because while times might be a little challenging, there's always opportunities and we always rebound. My special guest, Leo from Meanwell USA. Meanwell, if you can introduce yourself.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Leo, and I'm the general manager of the Meanwell USA office. And thank you very much for having me for today. And I think today have an exciting, challenging issue that we can talk about. And likewise, I've been through the business cycle, three major different business cycle, and hopefully my experience can share some experience to you guys.
Right, and we've done that together as partners. So Leo and I have been working together for 18 years now. And TRC and Meanwell have been great partners and had a lot of success. So we want to share a little bit about what the state is right now of U.S. manufacturing. What are some of the biggest challenges that we need to overcome? And we're going to give you some valuable advice that we can help you succeed. So first, let's just talk a little bit here about the state of U.S. manufacturing. So we're going to show you a slide here. This is very important data here. If you're in the manufacturing industry or your business is connected to the manufacturing industry, this is a report that you should be monitoring. And this is the ISM report on business manufacturing. It's their PMI manufacturing for new orders and manufacturing. So we monitor this. This is a lagging indicator and a leading indicator of what's going to be happening in the industry. First, we look here. The blue bars is going to show you that is the PMI for manufacturing. And then the orange line is going to be the new orders. So where we are right now, let's get a baseline of where we are right now. We have 6 months of contraction consecutively. So technically in manufacturing, that would be a technical recession for manufacturing. And we also have several months of contraction in new orders. And in new orders, it gives us an indication of what the future looks like. That's more of a leading indicator. So what we see right now is that we've got some challenges. We've got contraction in manufacturing. There's little sign of an upturn right now. And the expectations for growth in manufacturing are declining a little bit. And it's really interesting because we're here at EDS, and Leo was going to explain a little bit about what EDS is and where we really get a lot of feedback from a lot of businesses and organizations, people in the industry that are serving the manufacturing market. But Leo, maybe first just give everyone briefly an explanation of this EDS conference that we're at right now.
Sure, of course. EDS is one of the largest electronic distribution show in Las Vegas. It's once a year. So all the manufacturers like Meanwell, ourselves, and also other distribution partners will come together in Las Vegas. And we're going to have a whole week, entire week of an event meeting. So sometimes people joke about it's like a speed dating, right? Some people, they have more than 40 meetings in a week, which is incredible. But anyhow, so this is a big and good opportunity for manufacturer and distribution partners to meet and greet and talk about, hey, what's going on in the marketplace? Is there any opportunity that we can see in the future? Things like that.
Right. So, we get a lot of feedback of what's happening in the marketplace and where the marketplace is going. And between Meanwell and TRC, we also deal with tens of thousands of global companies and businesses in the manufacturing industry where we're in constant contact and hearing feedback. So we hear the struggles or the opportunities or the successes that you're all having. And we're going to share that here with you today. So what I'd like to do is move on to the next slide here. If we can bring up the next slide. We're going to talk about, when we look at the top three challenges that we need to overcome, Well, one of them is learning from the opportunities and what's working. So first, I want to highlight here, while manufacturing is in some contraction right now, there are sectors in manufacturing that are having success. And we're going to highlight a little bit from this. And the point of this, even if you're not in these industries, well, what can you learn from them, and how can you leverage the success? Because in any time, there's always opportunities, there's always growth opportunities. It's just about finding those growth opportunities and figuring out how you can leverage those opportunities or learn from the businesses that are having those opportunities. So a couple of the industries we talk about here that are having success, these are 4 examples. Robotics. Now, robotics is one example, but anything that is replacing people, because we have a major labor shortage here in the US, probably worldwide, but especially in the US. Robotics is an example, but there are other examples. Leo, maybe you can touch on a couple examples of how we're replacing the need for people with technology.
Sure. So I think everyone, you go to McDonald's sometime, right? So if you notice McDonald's, when I go into one of the McDonald's store, no people taking my order. I
Right.
need to key in all my orders in the kiosk. I think that is a trend. The people or the business owner try to automate their process, right? Try to take out the human factor in doing the process, and that's big. And it's happening it's not only in the fast food trend. We also see that's happening in the supermarket, trend store, and also manufacturing as well. Manufacturing is a lot of robotic automation process in place right now. That is a lot of good successful story.
Right.
There.
Right. So kiosks, anything that's self-checkout, anything you could self-serve yourself, and it improves our experience anyway because it goes quicker, right? Okay, another example will be medical equipment. So medical equipment is very resilient, especially medical necessary equipment. This is another area where we see a lot of success. It's always resilient, even in downturns. A third example would be service industry. So while the manufacturing industry is in contraction, what's keeping the overall economy still growing is the service industry. So when you look at service PMI indexes, you still see the expansion, even though it's slowing down. You know, people want to get out, people want to do things. I think everyone had a new appreciation for that type of lifestyle when we were locked up with COVID. And so whether it's restaurants or going out and doing activities, so there's examples where any manufacturer that's innovating anything for the service industry. So we see a lot of great opportunities where for restaurants, for kitchens, where you're making that the cooking experience more efficient, more automation, right? Even one of our greatest clients that is having tremendous success. If we can put that slide up one more time, we'll show you a picture of it. They're doing a cooling and misting device for outdoor dining. So what they're doing is they're doing cooling for outdoor dining because everybody wants to get out to restaurants. And a fourth would be green energy, right? And Leo, you could talk about this. I mean, we can go on and on about green energy, but this is a big push. There's a big push for green energy. And maybe you could talk a little about the opportunities there.
Like you say, if you're talking about green energy, alternative energy, we can talk a day and forever, right? But I think as one very typical example happening in the US is the big push of the EV charger. That is the big market that we see right now because of the electric vehicle. Right? For the electric vehicle, the adoption rate, I think, is doing pretty well. Right? But however, they need to charge their vehicle, right? So the electrical charger, and also something related to that industry, because you have the battery. The battery, you need to do the servicing, right? How do you do the battery diagnostic or do the battery treatment, things like that? That is a huge industry as well. So I think I would say the whole energy, the green energy industry will be covering a lot of different subsectors.
Right. Yeah, I think that when you think about electric vehicles, there's a lot of thoughts about this, but one thing is for certain, we are going to electric vehicles in the long term, and the infrastructure and the opportunities that need to be innovated and created and manufactured for our country are tremendous. Even where green energy sources here, when we're talking about different energy generators. So there's so many opportunities, like the example, we have a great client that we showed there on it. If you could put that slide up one more time. It's a piece of energy generating equipment. That's another example. All right, so the bottom line here, what's the solution here? What do you need to do to be successful? How do you leverage this? Okay, so let's talk about supply chain challenges. Now, the challenges today are a lot different than they were a year or two ago. We went from just in time before the pandemic to having enough inventory that's just in case, to what's happening now in the supply chain, and even with our clients, the manufacturing clients, is just having too much inventory. So we went from a major slowdown at the pandemic to a major explosion of demand to all of a sudden the economy starting to hit the brakes and just too much inventory in the supply chain. So one thing you've got to be able to manage this inventory is building, be very smart about what you're purchasing. Your planning has to be very intelligent. If you're planning for forecasts, you've got to audit those forecasts. You've got to be very diligent about how you're creating and methodical about those forecasts. They can't be guesses, because a lot of the orders that clients are placing in the manufacturing industry are built to order, and they're not cancelable, non-returnable. So you've got to be very careful. Great news is price pressure is easing, and we can tell you that we can see that happening here. So we're on the front end of that. Meanwhile is even on before that. So the price pressure is easing. So you shouldn't expect continued increases in pricing. We see that flattening out. Third thing, the golden screw. So this has been like coined in our industry, where you might have 99 components on your bill of material that you have, but there's one component in that bill of material that prevents you from manufacturing that product. And this is where, if right now, Leo, we talk about this, if you have a power conversion product that's a golden screw, this is a piece of advice and a solution. You've got to design it out right now. No matter what it is, at this point, if you haven't rebounded and recuperated and gotten back to some kind of reasonable level of lead time, it's time to reconsider that component.
Yeah, of course. So that's why we have our great partner TRC in the North America here. They are one of our largest stocking distributors. So yes, indeed, those challenges, that's what we see in the marketplace and also the whole system right now. Open inventory just in case, just too much, right? And also the golden screw, right? So that's why we have the channels partners to do the stocking, right? That when you need something, then you don't have to order for a lead time of 20 weeks, 50 weeks of lead time. You will get the power converter product right away from TRC. So that's a great thing, right?
So if no matter what that component is, if it's a power conversion product, we can help you with that 100%. We'll talk more about that. Or any other type of component, you need to be reconsidering that, whether you're going to redesign your current design or you're coming out with the next generation and you're going to be, okay, let's learn from the past, which suppliers were really, really vulnerable and really put us in a bad spot. Because right now, inventory is the cost for inventory. You can have 99 components in stock and you have one you're waiting for. Now you're holding inventory because you're waiting for that golden screw. Right now, inventory costs are going to be much higher. Interest rates are higher, so your carrying costs are higher. Cost of warehousing is increasing with inflation. So right here with supply chain challenges, be aware of the situation right now. If you still have that component that has extremely long lead time, you need to look at that component. And if it's a power conversion product, contact our team and we're going to help you find the more appropriate components so you're not dealing in a bad spot. Now, we want to talk about the third challenge here that we need to overcome if you're in the manufacturing industry, and that's the hiring challenges. So we all know about this. There's a shortage of labor, right? And we got two types of hiring challenges in manufacturing. You know, skilled labor, skilled production workers, and you've got engineers. And we just shared a little piece of data here. This is not a problem that is going to disappear. So Manufacturing Institute and Deloitte published a report, and they predict that the manufacturing sector here in the US is going to be short of 2 million jobs over the next 10 years. So you've got to be proactive and understand that that's going to be a challenge. And what do we do to solve that problem? All right, skilled production workers. this is not, manufacturing now is not just a labor job, a labor intensive job. And Leo, meanwhile, as a manufacturer, I think you could speak to this a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Indeed, that two type of labor is a big challenge. No matter the skilled labor force and also knowledgeable engineer, those are the very unique and valuable resource that we can find right now, and especially for the labor, because of the birth rate is going down. No matter in the Far East, in China or other country, I don't think they don't have that many of child. That is a long-term problem. So for us, we are doing much more investment in the automation process. We try to automate the process when we making our conversion power supply products, so we can reduce the impact of the human factor over there. The other thing in the other one is engineer. Engineer is
so before we go to engineer, just a point. The skilled labor now, you need to be trained and skilled in order to be able to operate the manufacturing equipment, right? And this is true here in the US. So it's not just like, hey, we just have a job and it's labor intensive. You've got, actually, you have to be skilled and be able to learn and understand and be trained on the equipment that manufacturers are using, right?
That's right. So the training curve for a skilled qualified labor to work on the production or the manufacturing is typically takes 6 months to a year.
Okay.
All right. So it's not easy.
Right.
Not easy.
Right. And in a second here, we talk a little bit about engineers. So engineers are in shortage. So we see it. We talk to clients every day. We're talking to thousands of clients. Engineers are stretched thin. Their resources and time are stretched thin. They're always pressed for time and projects. And what we have here in the US, we have an aging engineering workforce. And the aging engineering workforce is not being replaced fast enough by young engineers because there's just a lack of interest with young engineers. And here, like, what we want to talk a little bit about is a solution to that problem. And this is where we can provide, as partners, meanwhile, in TRC Electronics, the greatest value. And we've been doing this for a long time. It's the engineering resources that we provide our clients through the design cycle. So the product development cycle, you started a concept and you go all the way to production. And what we do here is we assist engineers with that product development cycle, especially with the power conversion products. Power conversion products can be fairly complex at times, and there's tens of thousands of models for you to choose from, and making sure you get the right selection of power conversion product, not only mechanically, electronically, but also commercially. When is it going to be available? What's the timetable is? What's the lifespan of your project? Is this power supply going to be available for the lifespan of my project? Because I don't want to have to design a second one in. Am I going to be in a jam because this becomes my golden screw? These are things you got to be thinking about, because you got to make that investment. And when an engineer is pressed for time, they're rushing through it. Power supply is usually one of the last things, because they just figured out their power level. And this is where we can walk through and help it through that cycle. And that leads me to the next slide here. We'll talk about this a little bit, Leo. It's about what our offer here, guys. This is, if you could bring up that engineering slide. So this is where we provide you guys, our clients, and our most successful clients leverage us for our engineering resources. So we have a foundation on engineering here. That's what makes us very unique as a distributor and so successful with Meanwhile Power Supplies. What I would suggest anybody do is, if you're using power conversion products in your products, is schedule a call with our team. Somebody's going to put a link in the chat here, so you guys have the hyperlink, but we also have the QR code. And this is a no-risk phone call. It's just it might be a 5-minute call, it might be 10 minutes. It's just a discovery call to review and present any present and upcoming power conversion components and challenges you have. And also, hey, what are the priorities? Do you have a power supply that is a golden screw? It's causing you problems. But we can review everything, and hey, if we look at everything and it looks good, then you're great, and we're going to let you know that. But if we see opportunities, we're going to accelerate your engineering success so you don't get bogged down on this. And we could talk a little bit about like that value, how we work together as a team, and how we really help clients.
Of course, I think we like TRC so much because you guys have a strong foundation of the engineering support, and you guys have the expertise and also the specialty on the power conversion, right? So I think the value that we can bring to the customer is I agree. Customer usually when they decide something, power supply or the power solution is the last thing they think on the list, right? But it's a critical one, right?
Right.
So a reliable partner is important to help them to select a cost-effective and performing product for their project.
Right. So the power supply we say is the heart of the system. If we could bring that slide up one more time. I want to show you, get you that QR code, make sure that you guys see that link in the chat. And here's another, another offer we have as part of this. If we have that conversation and after our discovery call and together we determine, hey, there's a better solution that's going to improve your situation, we're going to provide you, Meanwhile and TRC are going to invest in your success and provide you all the Meanwhile power supply samples that you need to do the testing for free. So this is a great offer. This is where we can provide you the most value. This is unique. Hey, we're not going to just throw you online. We want to have that conversation. We want to speak with your engineers and make sure that you're succeeding. Look, we typically save an engineer 11 hours of research time when they're looking for a new power supply. And we do that in like 5 or 10 minutes. And we're also making sure they get on the right power supply. So I really strongly encourage you to visit that link, sign up so that we can schedule that call with you. And we'll make sure it's just an insurance policy for you guys. All right, so hey, this has been great. I don't know if we have any questions. If anybody has a question, we'd be happy to answer. I know we're running a little over time, but Melissa, let us know if there's any questions in the chat. If not, just let us know what we got here.
Yeah, no questions in the chat. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you, Leo.
All right, well, hey, listen, guys, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Sean. Hey, thanks for joining the TRC Power Show Live. And we want to thank our special guests, the number one power supply standard manufacturer in the world, Meanwhile. Leo, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And we're going to see you at the next Power Show Live. It's a third Thursday of every month. And next one is June 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks for joining us.